As our MT Top 40 continues rolling on toward the #1 quarterback in Montana's history, the #3 guy in the modern era has arguably the best numbers out of any of these. Only lost 3 games in 8 years between high school and college, 4 national championships. The other, back pre-1980s, a 3-year starter, still in Washington State's record books and an NFL draft selection. #3 in the quarterbacks, the ties. Helena Capital's Tyler Emmert of the modern era, and Billings Senior's Payne, pre-1980s.
He was phenomenal in high school, watching him play, and just the quarterback position always lends itself to being a great leader and the composure that you have. And he was that way. He was that way in high school, as a junior, as a senior. Just everything he did was amazing, and players around him played better because he made players be better because of his attitude, because of his ability.
As a quarterback at Helena Capital, Tyler Emmert never lost a game, owning a perfect reported 47-0 record between his freshman and senior years. That included a 26-game win streak with the Mark Sampson-led varsity squad that won back-to-back Class AA state championships. 1999 was a 53-24 win over Billings West. 2000, a 35-6 win against Flathead. Emmert, 2-time first-team All-State selection, named the Class AA Offensive MVP and USA Today Montana Player of the Year his senior season. He held 11 Helena Capital records, 10 of those in football, 1 more in track, and was your MVP of the 2001 Knights of Columbus Badlands Bowl. That was a 33-0 Montana shutout against North Dakota. Emmert also played in the Montana East-West Shrine Game, earned letters in basketball and track and field, and also captured an American Legion Baseball State Championship with the Helena program.
You look at Tyler's pedigree in terms of all the intangible things that he had, as a winner, as a leader. It was unbelievable. And, I don't know that there's ever been a guy who's won more championships, whether it was Legion Baseball or state track, or obviously the football was unbelievable. Not a great basketball player, and Coach Van Diest sent me to every home game that they played that year. And I think they started 5 all-state football players, and shoot, they made a run at the state tournament there too, and we're beating people 35-32, but not a lot of scoring going on.
Though his prep days were impressive, it was his time at Carroll College that boosted him into numerous Hall of Fames. Emmert redshirted his freshman season, watching his older brother, J.D., lead the Fighting Saints to a Frontier Conference championship and appearance in the NAIA National Semis, setting numerous passing records along the way. Tyler Emmert would surpass those records and many more.
Well, he redshirted his freshman year because the quarterback that year was his brother. And the thing that he did, and Nick will tell you this, J.D. was a great quarterback for us, a tremendous quarterback. You can tell their dad was a coach, and John was a tremendous athlete at Flathead High School. But Tyler knew the offense as well as the rest of our quarterbacks, as well as J.D. did. So he knew it mentally, and that's what he did. He didn't use his redshirt year just to sit back there, kick his feet up, and let Coach Howlett talk to the varsity quarterbacks. He was learning all the time and prepared himself that when J.D. graduated, it was time for him to step up and compete for that position. He came here because he knew he could play, and he wanted that starting position.
A 4-year starter for the Fighting Saints, Emmert became arguably the most decorated football player in league history, although he did taste his first defeat after that undefeated prep career.
I do. It was against Central Washington out here, and I'm pretty sure he was the last guy out of the locker room, and as all great quarterbacks do, they think the entire thing was his fault, and it had been a long time since he had experienced that, and I knew he didn't want to do it again and didn't do it often. And so all that did was light the fire to work harder. We all learned a lesson that day, and the rest is history.
Emmert led Carroll College to 4 consecutive Frontier Conference championships, earning first-team All-Conference and League MVP honors, while also guiding Carroll College to NAIA National Championships in each of those 4 seasons. A 3-time NAIA First-Team All-American and 2-time National Player of the Year, Emmert posted a career record of 51 wins, 3 losses at Carroll, with 12,770 passing yards and 110 passing touchdowns, as well as 1,209 rushing yards and 23 more scores. His 13,979 total offensive yards became an NAIA record, and Emmert also became the first college quarterback at any level to own a career completion percentage greater than 70%.
Well, there's been a couple of reasons, and I gave him grief often because it actually got worse the further along in his career that he had. Because when he was a freshman, he was throwing to Gallick and Fitzsimmons, and even if those guys were double covered, they made some unbelievable catches. And obviously Tyler put the ball in the money and knew the talent he had with those guys, and if he just got them the ball, we were going to be okay. And losing those guys sometimes hurt his percentage a little bit, but you know, anytime you graduate as a four-year starter with over 70, almost 71% completion percentage, you're pretty talented.
Oh yeah, we're 70% completion percentage for his career. That's a tremendous stat. People don't realize that in this day and age. And it wasn't just dump-off passes. He was throwing that ball downfield. He was utilizing the talent that he had at the receiver spot as well as Casey at the tight end spot. But what made Tyler so good was he was in command all the time in the huddle. But he was a free-loving guy. You know, he was always thinking. He was always trying to make the next dollar or two. That's why he's so successful in this day and age. But what Tyler had going for him was the cerebral part of it as well as the physical talent.
Emmert also earned multiple academic honors, including the 2005 Scholar Athlete Award from the National Football Foundation. A member of the Helena Sports Hall of Fame, Emmert was inducted into the Carroll College Hall of Fame in 2015 as the single-season record holder in touchdowns, total yards, and passing touchdowns. He also held career records for total touchdowns, touchdown passes, passing yards, attempts, completions, total offense, and that completion percentage. The NAIA Hall of Fame would enshrine Emmert in 2014, and after serving nearly a decade as an assistant coach with the Fighting Saints, Emmert stepped away to spend more time with his growing family. He's currently a Helena School Board member and Helena Market President at Opportunity Bank.
I remember Tyler asking me at one point, he goes, "What did you change about my release or mechanically?" And the biggest thing was moving from underneath center, which he was primarily at Capitol. And I don't know if they had a drop back pass at Capitol that wasn't set up with play action with Donnie Saysbury and those guys. So he had a little bit of a wind up in where he carried the ball more than anything. But when you see Tyler's release, and the greatest thing with Tyler, no matter what it was, you could tell him to change it one time and it was changed. No matter how hard he had to work outside of coaches being there, it was changed by the next practice, and it was that way in everything that he did.
Touchdown Saints.
An outstanding talent at Billings Senior High School in the late 1960s, Payne's skill set caught the attention of Pac-8 program Washington State, where he would become a three-year starter for the Cougars. In 1970, he played in 11 games out at WSU, completing 123 of 267 passes for 1,581 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also rushed for 178 yards and 4 more scores, though his 24 interceptions are a Washington State single-season record. Following season, though, saw Payne rely more on his abilities in the rushing game, tallying 130 carries for 482 yards and 6 scores. He still threw for 1,206 yards and 5 touchdowns. In the 1972 season, he threw for 1,349 yards and 7 touchdowns, rushed for 250 more yards and 7 scores. In all, Payne would finish his Washington State career 4,136 passing yards and 15 touchdowns, with 910 yards on the ground and 17 rushing touchdowns. Payne was selected to participate in the 1972 East-West Shrine game. His name can still be found in the Washington State record books next to other names like Drew Bledsoe, for example. Payne's 725 career pass attempts were in the top 10 in program history. He was also awarded the 1972 J. Fred Bowler Award, given to the football athlete who best exemplifies the inspiration of Bowler, the former WSU athletic director and head basketball coach. Payne was a 9th-round selection of the New York Giants in the 1973 NFL Draft, the 225th overall pick, though he never played in an NFL game. So there you go, the number 3s, the ties. Tyler Emmert, Helena Capital, the 70+% completion percentage. The first college football player at any level to do so, and Payne still in the Washington State record books. Stick with MontanaSports.com. Number 2s on Thursday, and we meet the top quarterbacks, modern pre-1980s, on Friday. Richie Melby, MTN Sports.